to sit here and act innocent. You destroyed everything I had.
Please, you're hurting me.
You deserve worse.
That's enough. Let go.
Don't touch me.
I never meant for any of this to happen.
Then you shouldn't have done it.
Don't you dare walk away from me. The voice sliced through the air, sharp enough to freeze every soul in the room. Cameras flashed. Guests stared. A trembling hand hovered midair, poised to strike. But the young waitress didn't flinch. Her eyes met the billionaire's wife's gaze, calm yet defiant. For years, everyone feared this woman. But tonight, something was different. Tonight, someone finally stood up. This isn't just about a spilled drink or a raised hand. It's about power, pride, and the moment everything changed inside that golden dining room. This is Everyone Feared the Billionaire's Wife. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was the kind of place where perfection wasn't optional, it was demanded. The chandelier light shimmered across marble floors, reflecting faces too afraid to meet each other's eyes. Every waiter, hostess, and chef knew one rule: never cross Mrs. Hawthorne. She was the billionaire's wife, elegant, poised, and terrifyingly calm. Her presence alone could silence laughter, freeze movement, and crush confidence. Behind her perfect smile was a reputation built on fear. One wrong glance, one misplaced tray, one late response, and an employee could disappear by morning. Whispers filled the staff hallways about the things she'd said, the lives she'd ruined, the way she could end a career with a single phone call. Still, no one dared question her. After all, this restaurant wasn't just luxury, it was power. And into this quiet empire of intimidation walked Amara, the new waitress. She was young, graceful, and new to the city, a fresh hire who didn't yet know the unspoken rules. Her first day was a blur of tension and practiced smiles. Still, she noticed everything: the nervous laughter when Mrs. Hawthorne entered, the way shoulders stiffened, and how everyone seemed to shrink when the billionaire's wife approached. Amara had seen cruelty before, but this was different. It was polished, disguised as sophistication. Every compliment from Mrs. Hawthorne carried a hidden edge. Every command came with a quiet threat. Yet beneath the surface, Amara sensed something else, a deep loneliness behind the woman's cold eyes, a kind of emptiness that power couldn't fill. Still, she stayed silent, learning, watching. She followed the rules, blended in, and waited. Because deep down, she knew. People like Mrs. Hawthorne always believed they were untouchable, but sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one quiet act of courage, to make an empire tremble. And Amara's moment was coming. Days turned into weeks. And Amara blended into the background like everyone else, efficient, polite, invisible. The restaurant operated like a kingdom, every shift a performance staged for Mrs. Hawthorne's satisfaction. She'd glide in at noon, her perfume filling the air before her voice did. A single raised eyebrow could send a server scrambling. Amara watched quietly. She watched when a senior waiter was fired mid-service for spilling a few drops of wine. She watched when the kitchen staff whispered apologies to dishes that didn't meet her impossible standards. She saw the fear that lived in people's eyes, fear that looked permanent like it had taken root, and yet Mrs. Hawthorne fascinated her. There was something hollow in the woman's authority. Her sharp remarks weren't born of strength, but of insecurity, an addiction to control. Amara sensed it, the way predators sometimes sense weakness. Still, she said nothing. She needed this job, and she'd been warned. Don't speak unless spoken to. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a private dinner, just Mrs. Hawthorne and a few elite guests. The restaurant closed early, and the lights dimmed to a golden hue. Staff lined up along the walls, silent, heads bowed. The billionaire's wife entered, dressed in white silk, her diamonds catching the light like fragments of ice. Amara served water, hands steady, smile practiced. The tension was thick enough to taste. Every guest laughed too loudly, and every compliment sounded rehearsed. Then one of them, a senator's wife, mentioned the diversity of the staff with a half-smirk. Laughter rippled around the table. Mrs. Hawthorne didn't laugh. but her eyes flicked toward Amara, then lingered a little too long. "Amara," she said finally, her tone sugar-coated. "Tell me, how does it feel to be given such an opportunity here? I'm sure where you come from things are a bit different." The room went silent. Utensils paused mid-air. Amara's pulse thudded in her ears. She could feel everyone's gaze, waiting, holding their breath, hoping she'd stay quiet. But she didn't. Her voice was calm, even soft. "Yes, ma'am." "Very different. Where I come from, we're taught that respect isn't earned by fear." The words hung in the air like electricity. Mrs. Hawthorne blinked, stunned for half a second. Then the corners of her lips tightened into something cold. The room tensed. A slow, measured laugh slipped from Mrs. Hawthorne's mouth. "How charming," she said, turning to her guests. "You see? The new generation, they speak so boldly these days." Her words sliced through the air with delicate cruelty. But Amara didn't look away. Their eyes met, a collision of power and defiance. After that night, everything changed. Mrs. Hawthorne's pleasant mask began to crack. Orders grew harsher. Shifts got longer. Amara found herself assigned the hardest sections, the most extended hours. Plates were sent back without reason, and tips were quietly lost. The staff pitied her, but also feared for her. Still, Amara didn't quit. She stood taller. She worked harder. And in her quiet strength, others began to find their own. One by one, the staff started lifting their heads when Mrs. Hawthorne entered. They spoke more softly, but with more confidence. A ripple of courage spread through the air, small but steady. Mrs. Hawthorne noticed, and she hated it. Behind her flawless smile, she could feel her grip slipping. The kingdom she built on fear was trembling, and the waitress she tried to break was becoming the symbol of its undoing. Something inside her snapped. And soon, she'd make sure everyone remembered exactly who ruled this place. The breaking point came on a night heavy with storm clouds. Thunder rolled beyond the glass walls, and tension filled the dining room thicker than the perfume in the air. Mrs. Hawthorne was hosting an anniversary dinner, an event covered by the press, where every camera captured her practiced smile. Amara served with the same quiet grace she always had, even as Mrs. Hawthorne's sharp remarks cut at her throughout the night. But when Amara placed a glass of wine on the table, a small drop splashed onto the white tablecloth. Just one drop, tiny, almost invisible. The room froze. Mrs. Hawthorne's hand slammed against the table. "Do you even understand where you are?" she hissed, her voice trembling with rage. Cameras turned. Guests stared. Every staff member went still. Then, in front of everyone, Mrs. Hawthorne raised her hand, as if to strike. Gasps echoed. Someone whispered her name in warning. But before the slap could fall, Amara stepped back, not in fear, but with quiet dignity. Her voice was low, steady, and strong. "You can take away my job," she said, "but not my worth." Her words cut sharper than any slap could. Silence swallowed the room. Mrs. Hawthorne's hand hung in the air, trembling, not from power this time, but from humiliation. The cameras clicked. Guests looked away, and for the first time, the woman everyone feared looked small. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. The silence that followed was deafening. Cameras still rolled, guests still stared, but no one spoke. Mrs. Hawthorne's hand slowly lowered, her face pale beneath the flawless makeup. Her empire of control, years built on fear and manipulation, had cracked in a single moment. Amara didn't wait for permission. She placed the tray down, nodded politely, and walked away. No shouting, no tears, just quiet strength echoing louder than any protest could. The doors closed behind her, and for the first time, the staff exhaled. Some trembled. Others smiled through tears. By morning, the headlines had spread. Billionaire's wife's outburst caught on camera. The footage of that raised hand and Amara's calm defiance went viral. The internet erupted, some condemning, some defending. But one thing was undeniable. The world had seen the truth. Mrs. Hawthorne vanished from public view for weeks. The restaurant reopened under new management. Rumor had it the billionaire himself had been there that night, watching in silent shame. As for Amara, she didn't seek revenge or fame. She found work elsewhere, surrounded by people who valued her voice instead of silencing it. Yet she never forgot that night, the trembling hand, the room full of silent witnesses, the way courage could ripple through fear and change everything. In the end, her act wasn't about defiance. It was about dignity, a reminder that power built on fear is fragile, and that sometimes justice begins with a single word spoken out loud. So many watched that moment and saw themselves in her, silent, waiting, afraid to speak. The question is, how many of us are still waiting to stand up when it matters most? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful, accurate, and emotional stories.